Good morning, Earthlings! Welcome once again to my channel. This is your boy, Luis Portelles, and for today's video, we're going to be talking about episode 2 of the Presentation of Delegates of Miss Earth 2023. Before we get started, just a little recap of what happened in episode 1. I am so happy, so excited with the results and the videos that we have been presented so far as being one of the judges, because of course, we have to score every single one of the ladies and submit that back to the Miss Earth organization. And for today's video, I have prepared already my assignment here, my assessment for group 2. So we're going to be talking about each one of the delegates. Now, video 1 was quite lengthy, so I'm going to try to keep this a little bit more brief, at least, but still providing you some value and some insight into who the delegates are, what they do, and the things that I like the most about them. So if you enjoy this type of content, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Leave a comment, so let me know your opinions down below, and leave a like as well. And of course, don't forget to support the Miss Earth organization on their social networks as well as the delegates. All right, so without further ado, let's get started right away. I want to start by talking about Miss Bangladesh. I thought this is such a beautiful girl. You know, we don't always get to see Bangladesh in all international stages, but I'm glad that we have them here at Miss Earth. She mentioned one thing during her video that really stayed with me. And she mentioned being an outgoing, open-minded, and open-hearted person. I thought that really resonated with me. She spoke about the simplicity of life back home, and how she found happiness and the beauty in it. Honestly, this is such a humble perspective. This is such a down-to-earth perspective, no pun intended. And I really enjoyed her presentation. So I'm really looking forward to see her during the competition. She has a natural beauty to die for. All right, moving on, let's talk about Miss Belarus. I thought that she had impressive dancing skills, great preview about her life as well. I think that her video was very effective at giving us a glimpse into different scenarios of her life, as well as different looks. We got to see her in like sports attire, we got to see her in more like casual, formal, you know, a variety of looks that I personally really enjoyed. So yes, very good job, Belarus. One of the things that I would note, maybe it was just the pace of, you know, the explanations of the video. It was quite a little slow in the beginning, but sometimes it might be like a language barrier or something like that. So if that's the case, you do you, but also be mindful of being a little bit more engaging in your comm skills. All right, let's move on now to Bolivia. Bolivia actually is doing really great this year. I loved her video, and to be honest, she's ranked pretty upwards, which I cannot give you guys the scores, unfortunately. But what I will say is that, okay, so Bolivia mentioned that she lived in different countries. She also speaks several languages, and she has excellent presentation skills. For me, these are things that are really going to play in her advantage, especially at Miss Earth. Living in different countries, speaking different language gives you a global perspective, gives you access to other cultures, to really interact and talk to people from all over the world. So I think that's gonna be very helpful. And at the same time, the presentation skills, in my humble opinion, are almost a must at a pageant such as Miss Earth, because you really need to be able to talk about environmental issues and the things that you want to promote during your reign. So very good, Bolivia. Moving on, let's talk about Chile. Chile, I thought that she has a very interesting background, and of course I also found her extremely beautiful. There's other things that I wrote down here on my notes for each one of the delegates. By the way, I'm keeping a file with like notes and about every single group, every single girl, writing down the standouts and stuff. So right after this series of videos, we're gonna get into predictions and topics, so stay tuned for that as well. But going back to Chile, I said that I enjoyed learning about her mixed background, but also seeing how much she represents Chilean culture. So for those of you who watched the video, you will see that she mentioned that her parents come from different countries. She is half Filipina from what I remember, or has some Filipina in her. Her dad is from a different place, but then she was born in Chile. So I love seeing how all of those, you know, mixed backgrounds come together to create a very diverse, beautiful lady, but at the same time, she still represents Chile just perfectly. So I thought that was very interesting and very on brand with the Miss Earth organization. Now, let's talk about the next one on the list, and that goes to Ecuador. Okay, so for Ecuador, my note said, excellent communication skills. I love how detailed her video was and showcased both the urban and natural landscapes of her country. Let's not forget, ladies, this is a presentation for Miss Earth. So when you are presenting yourself, we don't just wanna, get to know you individually, but we also want to learn a little bit more about your country. Of course, there will be a complete presentation just for that, but this is a glimpse into who you are. So I would expect to see, a little bit of your surroundings, your family maybe, all of these elements that give me a better understanding of who you are. For Miss Ecuador, this was definitely a very strong point that I personally enjoyed very much on her video. Now, let's move on to the next one. This goes to Miss England. Miss England on her video says that her journey in the industry of finance has been very, actually, correction, I'm reading my notes badly. Miss England's journey in the industry of finance was actually very inspiring, since she gave us a full-on view of her journey since the very beginning of until, at least until the current point of it, because we got to see how she managed to work in a male-dominated industry while at the same time overcoming a lot of struggles to get to that particular point. This is a very important message that I think, especially in pageantry, we need to promote, because still in a lot of countries around the world, male-dominated industries are very, very difficult for women. And of course, sometimes we watch from certain countries where we have already certain rights or certain privileges, and we take it for granted. But let's not forget that all over the world, this is not always a reality. I also wrote down that she is artistically inclined with musical theater, which I think, speaks a lot about your talent, about your charisma. It takes a lot of, personality to be on stage and command the audience. And she also she talked about her eating disorder struggles during her younger years. And I'm glad to see that she's opening up and sharing her story with the world to inspire others to also overcome their struggles. All right, so very good, Miss England. Let's move on to Miss Ethiopia. All right, so Miss Ethiopia mentioned that she is very much into sports. So we have a sportive lady right here, specifically in the field of basketball, which taught her about discipline and resilience. She also talked about her family and how they have been such an inspiration all throughout her journey, not just in sports, but also, in her everyday life. So her pageantry, profession, education, all of those fields. Remember when I told you, I mean, if you guys watched the episode 1, which I hope you did, I told you about sports and how it teaches you to be very disciplined, to be very organized. And I was really happy to hear Miss Ethiopia mentioning those things here during her video, because I think that it really applies. And, when we are thinking about kids and, younger generations, these are things that we might want to lead them onto, to get those values, to get that discipline, to get the structure that they will need in order to succeed later in life. So, very good, Miss Ethiopia. Let's talk about Miss Korea. I'm not gonna lie, I really, really enjoyed Miss Korea's video. She is a young English and literature university student. To me, she come across as being very eloquent, maybe because of the background in the educational field. So definitely, I'm sure that is playing to her advantage. She is also gorgeous. Let's not forget, it's a beauty pageant. We still want to see exceptionally beauty ladies, and I think that Korea was just outstanding. I also like the fact that she has a very clear vision for her project and expanded about her advocacy during this video, which honestly at this point is not necessarily required, because this is just a presentation video of who you are. We want to get to know you on a personal level, but that doesn't mean that we cannot talk about advocacy. So at least she gave us a glimpse into what is yet to come and the content that we are going to receive in upcoming videos as well. Let's not forget, Korea is aiming for a back-to-back win at Miss Earth this year, so it's definitely going to be a challenge. But I'm happy to see that they're sending such a strong delegate. So I think that Korea is in really good hands this year. Now, let's continue with the next one. And that goes to Miss Laos. All right, so I have quite a few notes here for Laos. So she mentioned that she aims to be a businesswoman to provide for her family. She is determined to make it into this male-dominated industry. I guess that in her country, business is very male-dominated. It's very hard for women to go into that industry, in whatever aspect of entrepreneurship that she's trying to get started. I really resonated with the fact that her main motivation behind making it in life and being successful is to provide for her family. So we often hear stories of girls or even men, people from all over the world who come from humble beginnings, humble backgrounds, and that is really the one motivation that they have in life to make it. They want to change the situation of their loved ones. So this part really resonated with me. Her story about obtaining her crown was also very inspiring, and I think that in all of the stories that she told us during her video, she was able to really make it inspiring. So she talked about the struggles and then the sweet reward once she obtained whatever she was going after. So very good job here, Miss Laos. Keep it up. Now for Miss Malaysia, I'm going to say that I really, really loved her energy. She was one of the candidates that I wrote down. Really loved the vibe that she was projecting through the video. She came across as being someone who has a very resilient spirit. So that's definitely something that we have to look forward in pageantry. That's a message that we definitely want to put out there. She spoke about the diversity of her country and the beauty of it. So as well, I think that in terms of when we go back to the core of a presentation video, this one was very successful because it left me feeling like at least I know who this person is, or it gave me more of a glimpse into her character, personality, and not just her background. So very good, Miss Malaysia. Keep it up. Now we're going to the M's still. So Miss Mauritius. Miss Mauritius spoke about the struggles and how her family worked hard to help her do her best in the future. She is beautiful, she is eloquent, very solid representation for Mauritius this year as Miss Earth. Those are quite literally my notes. Let's talk about pageantry history a little bit. Mauritius doesn't have the brightest track record in pageantry, but I think, actually, I've seen in the past few years, this has really been a fuel for representatives from Mauritius to do really, really well internationally, whether it's at Miss Earth or other international pageants. And I thought that this video was magnificent. It was honest, it was simple, it was straight to the point, but it was still super effective. So it actually made me want to know more about Mauritius. It made me want to get to know their delegate even better. And you know what? I'm just crossing fingers. It's time for Mauritius. Mauritius has been working hard, putting in all the work that they need to put. So I want to see recognition for them in international pageantry. All right. Now let's talk about Miss Nigeria. Let's go to Africa, everyone. So her story about her childhood was heartbreaking, but the journey was very inspiring. One of the things that I always look for those of you who know me a little bit, I have a background in film studies. So for me, storytelling is very important. It's not always about what happens or the action, but how you tell the story. I really liked her video because she took us from a very dark place and a very negative experience to, a positive message, something uplifting, that it didn't make it so much about herself, but rather kind of molded the message to give something of value to the audience. So that's what I always appreciate. I did write quite literally great storyteller, and she also has an entrepreneurial spirit. Her experience is like a journey from darkness to light, quite literally. So very good, Nigeria. I mean, by the way, you guys, I'm giving you kind of like my notes and comments and all of the behind the scenes, but I encourage you guys to also go and watch the delegates videos by yourself so that you can understand the full story, the full picture, and not just base yourself off my comments or whatever I'm saying. So please also go and support the delegates. Now let's talk about Reunion Islands. So dreams of becoming a diplomat, already very impressive, very ambitious goal in life. Joining a beauty pageant was always one of her dreams because representing her country was one of her goals. I remember she talked about her mom really encouraging her during her video, and how pageantry is a platform that she really wanted to pursue. This is, I think, honestly, like currently not as common, because I think that pageantry has been kind of like stigmatized in certain countries. But I'm glad to see that there's people who still believe in it, who still uplift it, who still see it as a worthy platform. And I hope that we can make a comeback, especially with all of the progress that there has been in pageantry. I would love to see more girls, more people inspired by it and wanting to get involved once again. She speaks openly about her love for the environment, and she was able to show during her video as well how she gets involved, her advocacy. And you know, as I said earlier, it's not mandatory at this point to get too deep into the advocacy, but always to get a little glimpse of it. We appreciate it, especially as judges. Just to get to know you a little bit better is something that is definitely very appropriate. Now let's talk about Miss Russia. Miss Russia gave us a whole production in terms of her video. It was arguably, up until this point, the most dynamic video that I have watched so far. I'm not gonna lie, I watched all of the videos quite late at night because I was just coming back from the Miss International coronation night, and it was quite late. So the moment that her video came on the screen, it definitely like caught all my attention, because you know, after watching a few videos, you usually go like more slower pace. But anyways, that's not relevant. As I wrote down, one of the most dynamic videos, entertaining, still informative. So she did not have to compromise the information, you know, about her background, her country, what's going on, for the purpose of entertainment. So that's also very important. It gave us the perfect balance of both things. And there's something about Russia this year. I really like her. I think that she has the winning glow, at least in that video. Gave us different looks, great attitude. So I thought that she was definitely one of the standouts, in my very humble opinion. Now, let's move on to talk about Miss Serbia, which I also really loved her video. Gave us really a glimpse into some of her passions. This is a very artistic girl. We got to see some of her dancing skills, which I thought were very impressive. I wish I could do all of this, all the dancing, all the, you know, I just can't. I'm 28 already, and yeah, I'm not as flexible as I used to be. But Miss Serbia, that's definitely not a problem for her. Beautiful girl. I thought that she was really sweet. Her personality was very likable, and all of those things really combined with her passion for art, for dance, just really come together to give us a very beautiful portrait of who she is as a person. Now, let's talk about Miss Sri Lanka, who mentioned, opened up during her video about being an entrepreneur and an artist. She spoke extensively about her passion for dancing, especially her national traditional dances, which I think is beautiful. We often don't get to see it as much, you know, people who really just focus or specialize in traditional dances. I know that, you know, right now, especially with trends like TikTok and social media, we all tend to jump on trends and try to learn, you know, whatever is going on the social media world. But let's not forget about our culture, heritage, where we come from. It's important to learn and practice our national traditional dances, because that's part of our heritage. And if we don't promote it, if we don't preserve it, then eventually it gets lost down the road. So I really thought that her video was effective, you know, not only at presenting herself, but also at giving us a glimpse into her culture, sharing her heritage with us, and of course, keeping it alive as well. Now, moving on to Miss Ukraine. Now, y'all, let me tell you this. I was very impressed by Ukraine. I thought that she was, looks-wise, she was outstanding. She was so beautiful. And I also really enjoyed the content, like the actual substance of the video. Very creative girl, sportive, and very, very charming. This is quite literally my notes. We got to see different sides of her, different looks, and I think that she was one of the standouts so far, at least from the Europe batch. As I said earlier, during my previous video, we haven't watched all of the girls just yet, so it's too early to start making predictions and whatnot. But Ukraine has something special this year that I really enjoyed getting to know her during the presentation video. So more to come. Stay tuned, but let's not overlook Ukraine, okay? Now, we still have three more candidates to talk about. So, um, let's mention here Miss US Virgin Islands. Another girl who was really, really into sports. I really love how she had a very active life. She was very, very dynamic, and you can just feel the very, strong personality. Very dynamic, a girl who is not scared to put herself out there, get out of her comfort zone, go in for a challenge. And I thought that was very, very inspiring. You know, the thing that I really like the most about her video is that it gave me a sense of community. You know how sometimes you can do sports for yourself, you can just be part of a team, you can go to the gym, you can decide to be active without necessarily getting involved. When you watch her video, you truly get the perception that this girl is involved in so many different aspects of her community, not just in sports, but also in giving back, in helping other people. It's not just about sports for her, but also about getting other people involved in sports, so inspiring them as well. And I think that's outstanding. I mean, for me, when I think of the things that I wish for youth, it's for them to be healthy, for them to be, active, for them to be involved in their communities, and that's exactly what this video gave me. So very, very good. Of course, let's talk about Miss USA. I am so proud of USA. I've been watching her journey for quite some time at this point. I think that from what I remember, I mean, ever since she was crowned as Miss USA, and I think that she has been very consistent with her work, her advocacy, lots of things going on. And the video just embodies all of those things beautifully. So she mentioned that she is a cosmetic artistry entrepreneur. She had to overcome many challenges, especially after losing her dad. But she seems such a persistent person. So resilience is definitely one of the best things that any human being can have. And I think that Miss USA definitely has a lot of that. Her advocacy also is very close to her animal protection advocacy as well. You know, she mentioned about, since she works in the beauty industry, having her own line and making sure that she uses products that are sustainable and that are not harmful for the environment and for animals as well. So Miss USA, this was a home run. Very proud of you, and please keep it coming. All right. And last but not least, anyways, Miss Zimbabwe. I enjoyed her video so much. She's a chemical engineer, and she uses it to look for sustainable solutions for plastic waste and sustainability. I wrote down in terms of the commentary for the delegate as well, great poise, looks, and even walk, because she was one of the very few candidates who gave us a glimpse into her walk, the technical aspects of pageantry, which is also super important. You know, it's not just about your advocacy and how you look, but also how you carry yourself, how you handle yourself on stage, how you present yourself in a room full of people. So Miss Zimbabwe, this was amazing. I think that she is so beautiful. The face value is definitely there, and the video was very charming as well. So there you go. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. Remember to support your delegates, the content on the Miss Earth page, their Facebook, their Instagram page, their YouTube channel as well. Go and show some love to the delegates, and I'm really excited for this pageant season because it's going to be so vibrant. I cannot wait to experience everything in Vietnam, and I know it's just gonna be one for the books. Now, you go ahead and let me know in the comment section what do you think about the delegates, my comments, and all of the things that we talked about today. And yeah, take care everyone. I will see you on the next one. Love you. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, huh? Bye now.